The story begins with Remy, a young rat with exceptional smell and taste senses, who dreams of becoming a restaurant chef. Remy lives with his brother Emile and his father, who doesn't appreciate his talent. Remy's life changes when the old lady uses poison to get rid of rats, and it becomes his duty to help the rats recognize safe-to-eat items. Remy's advanced sense of taste prevents him from eating garbage like other rats, and he desires to have meals like humans. Despite his father's warnings, Remy roams around a cottage where an old woman lives and discovers the joy of food by tasting a strawberry and a piece of cheese. He also becomes inspired by a cooking show featuring the famous French chef Auguste Gusteau, owner of a 5-star restaurant. Motivated by Gusteau, Remy starts exploring the world of cooking. He finds a mushroom and a rare cheese and decides to cook them with a little bit of rosemary. He doesn't have a stove, so he uses a fireplace. Unfortunately, the weather gets cloudy and a clap of thunder hits the rats. Both of them survive, but the mushroom is roasted by the lightning. Remy loves the developed flavor, but he believes something's missing. To find it, they sneak into the kitchen. Emile feels really scared, but Remy assures him that the old lady won't wake up for a few hours. Remy knows that because he keeps sneaking into the kitchen to read the cookbook written by Gusteau. Remy finds Saffron, but he notices the news running on the television. His beloved idol has died. The Gusteau restaurant lost 2 stars after the incident and the bad review given by food critic Anton Ego. Remy was lost in the news when the old lady woke up. She shouts loudly on seeing the rats and takes out her gun. She shoots continuously at Remy and Emile. They survive, but the bullets bring down the whole ceiling, revealing the rat colony living up there. They all run to migrate from the place. All the rats get in their emergency boats, but Remy is left behind. He's trying to bring the cookbook along with him. He gets separated from the crew and takes the wrong turn. He waits for a signal from his family for days, but no one shows up. While reading the cookbook, Remy creates an imaginary Gusteau inside his head, who encourages him to keep exploring. Remy travels around the drainage and finds a way out. He's in Paris and just a few steps away from Gusteau restaurant. Remy can't believe his eyes and moves further to have a closer look. He hides inside the ceiling and watches the restaurant's kitchen. There's the head chef Skinner, who's supervising everyone in a harsh tone. A young boy named Alfredo Linguini comes there looking for a job. His late mother was Gusteau's acquaintance and told Linguini to give a letter to Skinner. The rude chef doesn't bother to read the letter and hires Linguini as the garbage boy. The innocent boy doesn't complain and starts working immediately. Linguini is a little clumsy and he accidentally spills half of the soup. To cover his mistake, Linguini adds some water and a bunch of random ingredients to the soup. Remy is seeing this all and panics about the soup getting destroyed. He slips on his feet and falls into the kitchen. He keeps hiding away and looking for an exit. He finally sees an open window near the soup counter, but he can't make himself leave. He wants to fix the soup. Remy cleans his hands and lowers the flame. He starts adding ingredients and brings the soup to a boil. Linguini notices him and hides Remy under a strainer. He proceeds to taste the soup, but Skinny catches him and accuses him of messing with the soup. While he's scolding Linguini, the soup is plated and served to the customer. Not just any customer, it's a food critic. She calls the head chef immediately and admires the soup. Everyone is in shock, but Skinny is still against Linguini. The female chef Colette defends the boy and reminds everyone of Gusteau's cherished motto, anyone can cook. Left speechless, Skinny accepts Linguini as a chef with the condition that he cooks the same soup again. After everything settles down, Remy tries to escape the scene, but Skinny catches him. He orders Linguini to dispose of the filthy rat immediately. Linguini, with a kind heart, puts Remy in a jar but spares his life. He ponders the strange events of the day, noticing Remy seemingly nod at him. Linguini, intrigued, asks if Remy wants to make the soup again. Remy nods, and Linguini lets him out. Initially hesitant, Remy changes his mind and decides to help Linguini. Linguini takes Remy to his small apartment and offers him some rest. The next morning, Linguini can't find Remy, and the food is missing from the refrigerator. He assumes the worst, but then sees Remy cooking breakfast using herbs picked from the neighbor's garden. Linguini advises Remy not to steal again, promising to buy spices next time. Linguini rushes to work, leaving Remy behind. Back in the kitchen, Skinny demands Linguini recreate the soup. Feeling hungry, Remy keeps biting Linguini to get his attention. Linguini hides in the walk-in refrigerator and scolds Remy. Seeing the innocent face of the rat, Linguini realizes Remy might be hungry and offers him a piece of cheese. One problem solved, another arises. How can Remy cook without being caught? While contemplating this, Linguini discovers his hidden talent. His body can be controlled by pulling his hair. Remy can hide under his cap and control Linguini's movements, but they need practice. They stay awake all night. practicing cooking with Linguini's eyes covered. The next day, it's time to remake the soup. All eyes are on Linguini as he cooks in an unusual posture. After he finishes, Skinny tastes the soup and approves. He assigns Colette to train Linguini. Though Colette is the only female chef and believes the kitchen hierarchy is outdated, she's a tough and skilled teacher who helps Linguini learn the ropes. While Colette trains Linguini, Skinny finally reads the letter from Linguini's mother. He panics, fearing Linguini might be Gusteau's illegitimate son and the rightful heir to the restaurant. According to the law, if no heir appears within 2 years, Skinny will inherit the restaurant. With only 2 months left, Skinny requests a DNA test. Meanwhile, Linguini thrives under Colette's guidance. She reveals none of the chefs are professionals, having various pasts that led them to Gusteau's kitchen. While Colette wouldn't have expected a rat to cook either, she embraces Linguini's talent. Days pass, and Linguini's soup becomes a hit. However, customers want to try other dishes, creating a dilemma. Skinny sees this as a chance to expose Linguini's secret and assigns him a difficult recipe, one even Gusteau couldn't master. Colette advises following the recipe, but Remy, hidden under the cap, believes improvisation is necessary. Colette scolds Linguini for his changes, but Remy forces him to serve the modified dish. The dish is a success, and other customers order it as well. To celebrate, the chefs have a celebratory toast, and Linguini rewards Remy with a hearty meal. Skinny, suspicious, tries to get Linguini drunk to pry the secret out of him, but Linguini remains tight-lipped. Meanwhile, Remy finds his lost brother, Emile, and steals food from the kitchen to feed him. Despite visiting his colony, Remy yearns to return to the restaurant. His father takes him to a shop displaying dead rats and poisons, hoping to deter Remy's dream. However, Remy refuses to accept this reality and desires to make a difference through his passion for cooking. Back in the kitchen, Remy finds Linguini sleeping on the floor after being overworked by Skinny. Remy tries to wake him up, but Colette enters and slaps Linguini for neglecting his duties. In the confusion, Remy pushes Linguini towards Colette, resulting in a kiss. Surprisingly, Colette doesn't pull away. Meanwhile, Skinny receives the DNA test results. He decides to keep Linguini's potential inheritance a secret and let the deadline pass. Unaware of this, Linguini prioritizes spending time with Colette, neglecting Remy's attempts to guide him in the kitchen. He even drops Remy on the street during an outing with Colette. Feeling betrayed and undervalued, Remy realizes his limitations as a rat in the human world. He returns to the kitchen, only to find his friends feasting on leftover food. He tries to access the locked refrigerator for more, but his search leads him to Skinny's office, where he stumbles upon Gusteau's will and the DNA report. Skinny spots him and chases Remy to retrieve the documents. Remy escapes the restaurant and runs through the streets, even jumping on a boat to evade Skinny. Finally, Remy manages to lose Skinny, who falls into the water. Exhausted but victorious, Remy returns to the restaurant. There, the truth about Linguini's heritage is out. Skinny is kicked out and Linguini takes over the restaurant. The news spreads like wildfire, attracting media attention. Linguini, overwhelmed by the sudden revelation and newfound fame, claims his cooking skills are in his blood and credits Colette for her guidance. This angers Remy, who feels his contributions are being overlooked. Adding to the pressure, the renowned food critic Anton Ego arrives. He previously despised Gusteau's restaurant and wished for its closure. Now, seeing its popularity under Linguini's leadership, Ego challenges Linguini to impress him. Chaos erupts in the kitchen as everyone scrambles to prepare for Ego's visit. Remy, despite having valuable ideas, is disregarded by Linguini, who prioritizes Colette's suggestions. Linguini carries Remy out of the kitchen, refusing to be controlled by the puppet any longer. Remy, feeling deceived and hurt, seeks revenge. He instructs Emile to bring the entire rat colony to the restaurant for a midnight feast. The rats invade the kitchen, devouring everything in sight. Linguini arrives and apologizes to Remy for neglecting his skills, acknowledging that he wouldn't be a successful chef without Remy's guidance. Just as Linguini expresses his gratitude, Remy's rebellion is exposed. The sound of scurrying attracts Linguini's attention, and he flips on the refrigerator light to reveal a swarm of rats. Feeling betrayed, Linguini yells at Remy and throws him out of the kitchen. The next day, tension hangs heavy in the air as everyone prepares for Ego's review. He doesn't choose a specific dish, requesting that Linguini serve him his best creation. Meanwhile, Remy, dejected and missing the world of cooking, is encouraged by Emile to move on. However, while searching for scraps, Remy notices a mousetrap and heroically saves Emile from getting caught. Unfortunately, Remy gets trapped himself. The captor is none other than Skinny, who sees Remy's potential as a tool to launch his own frozen food line. Remy lies there in despair, his dreams seemingly shattered. Yet, His imaginary Gusto whispers words of encouragement, reminding him to never give up on his passion. Suddenly, Remy's family comes to his rescue. His father, finally accepting Remy's culinary aspirations, joins forces with Emile. Remy rushes back to the restaurant, only to find a scene of utter chaos. With no knowledge of Linguini's signature dishes, the remaining chefs are overwhelmed by customer orders. One chef spots the rat and attempts to kill it, but Linguini intervenes. He reveals the truth about Remy's role in his success, pleading with the staff to believe in the little rat's talent. Unwilling to be part of this unconventional situation, the chefs along with the rest of the staff walk out. Even Colette, feeling overwhelmed, retreats. Linguini, defeated, hides away. Despite the bleak situation, Remy refuses to give up. He needs help, and that's when his family steps in. His father rallies the entire rat colony. Half the colony distracts the health inspector who arrives due to the chaotic events, while the other half undergoes a quick sanitation process to prepare for their culinary duties. With Remy leading the operation from the kitchen and Linguini reluctantly taking on the role of waiter, they manage to keep the restaurant afloat. Colette, intrigued by the turn of events, returns to the kitchen and asks Remy what he wants to serve Ego. Remy, drawing on his knowledge and passion, chooses a simple peasant dish called ratatouille. Ego, initially surprised by the unassuming choice, takes a bite. The taste transports him back to his childhood, reminding him of his mother's comforting meals. Deeply moved, he requests to meet the chef. Colette explains that due to the unusual circumstances, a meeting with the chef can only happen after the remaining customers leave. Later that night, Linguini reveals the truth about Remy to Ego. The critic, speechless, simply leaves without comment. The next day, Ego's review is published. In a surprising turn of events, he criticizes the prevalent negativity in food criticism, acknowledging that critics often focus on finding flaws instead of appreciating the chef's effort. He admits his own past mistakes and finally embraces Gusto's motto, "Anyone can cook." Ego concludes his review with excitement, looking forward to being served again by the ratatouille chef. Despite the positive review, the restaurant faces closure due to hygiene violations during the rat invasion. Additionally, Ego loses his job for speaking out against the industry's established practices. However, the story doesn't end there. With Remy's talent and Linguini's newfound fame, they manage to overcome these hurdles. They open a new restaurant catering to both humans and rats, with Anton,